to Momentum in Real Estate, your guide to success in the dynamic world of real estate. I'm Corey Wolf.
And I'm Kristen James. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned pro, we're here to help you reach new heights.
Success in real estate comes from learning, growing, and serving others.
Join us as we dive into strategies for lead generation, marketing, market trends, and client relationships.
Get ready to ignite your momentum and achieve your goals in real estate.
Let's dive in and unlock your full potential.
This is Momentum in Real Estate.
Well, meet our next guest, Beth Allen, a dynamic real estate professional in Fairbanks, Alaska, devoted mother of three and wife to an active duty Air Force member who truly understands the curveballs life can throw at you. With a focus on transparency, honesty, and practicality, she helps her clients navigate the often overwhelming questions of home buying. Her approach is all about uniting her business model with her clients' unique dreams, ensuring every step is clear and achievable. Welcome to the podcast, Beth.
Thank you.
We are so excited to have you today, Beth. Thank you so much for being here. So tell us a little bit about your real estate story.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I never thought I would marry a military member, and I never thought I would be a real estate agent. So I actually grew up around it, but on the appraising side. My uncle was an appraiser. My dad was an appraiser. My mom was the office manager for the appraising. So I kind of grew up in it, and I was like, I don't want to do this, I took a crazy path in life. I did food management. I tried sales. I tried customer service. I tried being a stay-at-home mom. And then I was like, everyone thinks they want to stay home until you stay home. And then I'm like, oh my God, I need socialization that's not from a 3-year-old.
True. Yes. Very true.
Yeah. I was like, I need to talk to actual adults, my love. But yes, so it was very interesting. I had just wrapped up my bachelor's degree. We were stationed in Germany. I had 2 kids at the time. And we were home shopping because we found out we were going to Alaska. So we were like, okay, we're home shopping. And one of the agents I ran into had actually posted that he's looking for some people to join his team and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, but I'm not licensed and I'm still in Germany and I've never done this before. But I have explained it to him that I feel like he really gave me the golden ticket into the industry. It was a stars align moment and I kind of fell into the career I was meant for. It was very interesting.
Wow. So how long ago was that? Like, how long have you been in the business?
Just about 3 years now.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned that you're in the process of switching brokerages or firms. Is that right?
No. So I have been with the same brokerage since I started, but I'm actually moving next year. We have orders to move next year. So when that happens, we get to start over and find a new brokerage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and how long have you been in Alaska for the 3 years that
Yes.
you've been licensed? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my goodness. I feel like we could go a whole direction of tell us about the real estate market in Alaska.
Girl, it's the wild, wild west. It's crazy sometimes. And just this whole different ball game. When I have real estate friends that I grew up with, everybody has a real estate friend, right? There's memes about it everywhere. But some of my friends that I grew up with, they turned into agents and they'll be like, we don't deal with any of that. Oh, okay.
Right, but you don't know what you don't know.
Nope.
I love
So
that.
I always say like being in Alaska, I'm always like, you know what, this is going to make me a stronger agent in the long run when I go somewhere and I'm like, I'm sorry, you don't deal with permafrost or no building codes or, I'm sorry, what?
Do you naturally end up working with a lot of military families, or is your clientele just kind of broad and mixed?
Yeah. So, when I got into this, I always thought everyone ends up finding their niche. And I was like, oh, mine's totally going to be military because, my whole life is military right now. And it actually has not. I have found a niche with mainly first-time home buyers. I really connect with first-time home buyers, but then also older clients, like elderly, we get along so well. We have great conversations. I think I have that granddaughter vibe going on. And so that is really where I have found myself.
Tell us a little bit about your business. Like, what's the trajectory you've had there in Alaska? And then I'm really, really curious, is your boundaries like 4 hours across the state? So tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So it started out so messy, to be totally honest. So when you first start out, everyone tells you boundaries. This business, you have got to have boundaries. And you're like, yeah, you got to have boundaries, whatever. And then you find yourself working at midnight and kids crying at 1, and you're like, oh my God, I can't do this. Right. So yeah, I have slowly formed those and have found things like, I utilize my calendar religiously. I mean, literally, it'll be like I begin my workday at this time. I put my phone on do not disturb at 8:30 p.m. Dropping this kid off, picking this kid up, these appointments, it is packed. And then, yeah. And so outside of that, I realized I have got to set one day a week where I just do not touch my phone. And I am so transparent about that with my clients. And I was scared at first to tell people, hey, I have 3 kids. So at dinner time, I'm probably not going to respond. My phone will go on do not disturb at 8:30. But if I'm working and I see your message, I'll message you back. But I don't want you to expect that I'm going to work for you at 8:30 p.m. And when you first start setting those boundaries, you get so concerned. I'm going to lose business. I'm not going to make it. And you actually find that you end up pairing with the right type of clients for you because they become so receptive to that and they actually appreciate that you do that.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's so powerful and really aligns with what Corey and I have implemented into our businesses as well. Just some good boundaries, healthy boundaries that allow us to be present to our families and loved ones and friends. And of course, there's seasons where you get, kind of consumed or sucked in just if there's a lot going on. It's not always a level or steady pace. But I love that idea of the one day a week. I was actually just listening to a podcast this morning with Jay Shetty. His podcast, I think it's called On Purpose, but he talks about when life is really crazy and you feel like time is just slipping away, which has been my reality in the last few weeks. And so I felt like it was just a timely message. But one of the things he mentioned was having just one day of the week, you pick it, where you're not bound in the same way by your calendar or by appointments or by I have to be here, I have to get there, where you're always feeling you're chasing the day. And so I just thought that, it so resonates with what you just shared in terms of that boundary of protecting at least one day where you can be really present with your kids and your family and attend to those other things in your life. So I love that.
Yeah, and it goes a long way. The kids are receptive to that. They get one whole day where mom's not texting or talking. I realized, and I find a lot of reels about this as well, where children that talk about their parents that are in real estate or whatever, because I'll be in the car with them and I'll be like, mommy's got to make a phone call, shh, shh. And so on Sundays, it's like they just get so much of my attention. And I picked that day because a lot of people will have church or this or that, but banks are not open on a Sunday. There's a lot of stores that are not open on a Sunday. So nothing's really happening on a Sunday in the world of real estate. Most people don't even present offers on a Sunday. So I'm going to be okay if I hang out with my kids.
That's great. Good for you.
So what are other ways that you balance your family and your life in real estate?
So it's crazy. Okay. Like, I don't want to present this. It is so like cupcakes and ice cream and so easy. There are days where I'm like, I don't know if I should just cry or just run down the road and leave. There are some days where it's very overwhelming, but I think when you don't have children and you start setting those boundaries, it is a little easier to have these really firm lines, right? Like, I don't have kids in the mix, so I can set this line. I'm going here, I'm doing that, don't bother me. But when you have kids, there's this whole new level of life that you just kind of elevate to. And part of that is involving my children, right? So I have found my 5-year-old is a girl. And she loves what I do. She loves going and meeting other people's kids and talking about, she'll be like, this is the kitchen and this is the bathroom. Do you like it? And I'm like, Sarah. uh, but for her, I have found almost like doing chores. Hey, if you go to this showing with me, you go to school 2 out of the 3, but there's Saturday showings. There's days where school is closed, right? And real estate never stops. And so for her, I'll take her with me. I'll say, hey, how old are you? You're 5. Every house we show today, if you act well and you do a good job, I will put $5 in your piggy bank. You get money for working today. And so I've used it as a learning tool for her. And that's made a huge difference. My middle, he is 3. He is obsessed with my printer. Okay. Like anything that comes out of the printer.
Yet I can relate.
Here, mommy. Ooh, Paige, here, mommy. So I really utilize that. Like, hey, I've got to print a packet for a client. You want to come print stuff with me? And so really just involving them as much as possible so they don't feel like I'm shunning them for the job. And so that's where the boundary gets blurred. It's not so much with the clients and myself. It's like, how do you make that third boundary with your children and your job without making them feel neglected? And it's very interesting. But Grant, he is going on 3 months. He has no interest other than food and pooing.
Oh, but I bet he's a good magnet.
Oh, he is. Yeah. I'm like, you see my baby? You want to sell your house? We'll sell your house. You want to hold the baby? I'll look at your house.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's great though. I take him everywhere. I don't pay for childcare for him. And I think being transparent with my family, my clients, is really a huge part of that. You just have to be honest. And it's scary at first to be honest about those things. I'm a mom. I'm a mom of 3. I have a life other than just being obsessed with real estate and doing this for you. And there are some people that might not take to that, but you would be surprised how many people actually really appreciate it.
That's so good. And something I haven't heard you talk much about, but I know is a huge part of your business is being a military spouse. Like, talk to us a little bit about that boundary and how you handle real estate with your military spouse as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Being a military spouse is hard to explain unless you're a military spouse, right? It's like this personal connection. You can just look at someone and be like, I know, I got you. But for me at first, it was like, I'm a military spouse, so everything I do is probably going to be military related and VA and blah, 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 blah. And I found that although I do have a foot in that community, as I said earlier, that's not the way it went. What is interesting is this. When you have a spouse in the military, you already have this extra burden, right? Because their life is controlled by the military. It's really as simple as that. They work long hours. They can get called out at any time. When we moved to Alaska, we were here for, I don't know, 1, maybe 2 months. We had just moved into our house. It was still dark 22 hours a day here because that's what it does. And it was -30 the day we moved into our house. Negative. They were like, don't touch your electronics. Don't touch your glass. Everything's going to break. It's wild,
Wow.
right? But part of that, there's a plane going over. Part of that is he got deployed 2 months after we moved. So I start this new career. That's when you really have to grind it. I've got 2 kids and now my spouse is deployed. And so it's like, whoa, what do you do? What do you do with that? And part of that is why I'm so thankful that I'm on a team. I really was able to fall back and, had I been an independent agent from the get-go, I would not have succeeded. I would not. And then military spouse wise as well, it's like you really have a connection with people moving, right? Whether they are military or not, because you move so often and you have to uproot your life so much that when someone comes to you, I've never bought a house before. I'm kind of scared. I don't really know what's going on, but I don't want to rent anymore, right? You really just have this deeper level of appreciation and connection with your clients because you go through it. And so you really understand it.
Wow.
For sure. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense and just gives you a unique point of connection with your clients. So that's awesome. Something you can personally understand and then leverage for your business as well. So
Yeah.
talk to us about, you said you're part of a team. So talk about that, kind of what that looks like and really how you, I don't know, contribute or help create a really supportive work environment in this real estate industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's very interesting. Most people, when they think team, they think, okay, you are the person who's showing and you are the person who, it's very segmented, right? I told you earlier, I got the golden ticket into real estate. I have the best mentor ever. He is just one, he's a beast at real estate. Okay. I'm just going to be totally honest. He's like the top producer in the whole area, right under a team of 12 of a big wig company or whatever on his own. Okay. So he's awesome. He's so knowledgeable, but he did not create he did this thing. Okay. And he did not create a team environment where it was so segmented, where you have this tunnel vision. I'm only showing. I'm only doing
Mhm.
transactions. It was very much supportive of individual agent, right? And so I am almost a solo agent, but with the support, like a little extra support of other agents. And so we really, now that could go wrong really fast, right? Because if you have this mindset that's like, you're my competition and I don't want to help you, and that environment can break down extremely quick. But we have done a really good job at just being supportive of each other, right? And sometimes I'll tell someone, on a competitive edge, I'm really jealous of you right now. I really am upset that those are not mine. But on a personal level, like, get it, go reach your goals. And I think that's such a hard mindset to obtain anymore. We live in a world where everyone is so like in their own me bubble and separated and competitive, and we're not in a very supportive environment in the world anymore. And so to really turn that switch and turn that light bulb on that says, okay, there's a time to recognize when you need to play hardball, but not be rude or, and I think that's played a big deal. We have an agent who is newer and she just got her listing signs yesterday, and she sent a picture, and you could look at that and be like, oh God, now she's going to get listings that like I'm not going to get. But instead it's like,
Mhm.
no, girl, get it, girl. Doesn't that make you feel good? And that's literally what I told her. Didn't you get an energy boost from that? Doesn't it make you feel so good to see your name on a sign?
That's amazing. I love that. And I can already get the sense of what that environment is like. And I don't even know these people, but I can sort of envision what this looks like. Are there other military spouses in that group, or are you like in very different kind of life stations or seasons?
So here's what's interesting is my mentor and now one of our brokers, he is an ex-army officer. So he is also military related. I am a military spouse. The other lady is a military spouse. We have a part-timer who's active duty military, and we do a lot of interning with the army. Hey, you're looking at separating from the army. It's called CSP, and it is the program that they can use to intern toward the end of their active duty stage to figure out what they want to do and start getting their wheels turning in normal civilization. So we do a lot of that. We're actually, the brokerage as a whole is not necessarily military related, but our little team, we're kind of this little bowl of military background.
Oh, that's so great. I come from a boutique firm that was very like, don't talk to anybody, competitive. And now Kristen and I are part of a firm that just gives and gives and gives because we're all shareholders. And it's just such a beautiful thing. And it truly has changed my world. So, can you speak a little bit to that piece? Like, how did that change the trajectory of your business? Name a couple things because I'm sure there's a gazillion.
I have, yeah, I don't know, like a million things I could respond that. So no, but I think for me, I wouldn't have made it with my season of life. And how do I say this? When you are not active in real estate, there is a fantasy of what real estate is like as a real estate
Mhm.
agent, which is
Yeah.
why there's all this commotion going on right now, right? Like what people think real estate is, and us over here, we do more than open doors. I just want to let you know. Uh, but when you get into that, it is very hard to swallow the pill if you have not realized it yet of what the industry actually is and the strain that it will put on your life, right? So I really, really feel that had I picked the wrong brokerage or the wrong team or went through that phase, I really don't know if I would have made it out alive in this industry. It is a naturally stressful career. There are so many ebbs and flows of contracts, numbers, your emotions, your clients' emotions. What is the market doing right now? Why are they messing with interest rates? Please stop it. And if you don't have an environment that matches your personal morals or wants or needs, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
That is so well said. So well said. And it is something I wish I would have heard 4 years ago. Like, hey, listen, there's better things out there, I promise. There's teams and people that will support you and non-team brokerages that will still support you. And yeah, so that's really,
Yes.
really beautifully said.
Yes. And just to tack on to that real quick is big conversation when you figure out what it's like and you realize that you actually have a say in what brokerage you are with. You actually have a say in it is your business. Even when you're tagged with a brokerage, it is your business that you're running. And to just say that if you are getting into it, to just know it is okay to shop around, right? It is okay. You do not have to take that, and to not be scared of splits. Like if there is a team that has a more supportive environment for you that is going to watch you succeed, if you see this number that's like, I'm not going to make as much, what I always tell people who are thinking about it is this: you see, I'm not going to make as much. I see they are going to support you on a whole different level. So you're going to make more, even though that split looks less, because you are just going to run with it and succeed rather than being pushed down. But I have a higher split.
It's so good. Yeah. How so many people put the emphasis on the wrong elements. And, maybe it's just naivete or they just lack of experience. But yeah, we know somebody in our organization who came to the brokerage without even knowing what the splits were. He just knew that it was like, it was the right environment, it was the right people. And that was what was going to be the key to his business growing and thriving. And so I
That's
love that.
amazing.
I love that emphasis. And it was a shocker for some of us. We're like, wait, what? He didn't even know?
You didn't even
but
ask.
but I love it because that was not the most important thing to him. And he knew it was all those other variables that were going to be more powerful for his business growth and his personal development
Yes.
too. So
Yeah.
So I think one more question, at least for me, is what are your goals and aspirations moving forward? It sounds like you're moving. So what does that look like for you?
Yeah. So I would say, in terms of personal career, I have a long-term end goal of owning my own brokerage. Okay. Like if this is the career meant for you, and pretty quick if it is. It really is just a whole different environment than your 9 to 5, or I run my own business but I own a shop, so it's still kind of 9 to 5 with some extra. This is just like a whole different game. And so for me, I know that I have connected with it and that I have found where I'm meant to be. And so long term, when I am in our forever home, I hope to own my own brokerage. And so I've backed that up. I know that's my long-term goal. I started out on a team here, finding my path, learning the business and industry, learning what do you need to pay for, what shouldn't you pay for, what's a waste of time and money, what do I appreciate. So my next step is really wherever I go next, I'll probably join a team for 6 months, a year tops, to learn that market, who's the good engineer, who should I use for these things, and then try to go solo agent. And I just see myself, as my kids get older, incrementing myself over to independent broker. And so that's the personal agent goal of mine. But I found I really love consulting with people. not even just first time, anybody. Like, I don't care if you're a first time home buyer, you're selling, you're an investor, you're renting and you're curious, you want to get into the industry. I love talking with people and helping them develop their goals. So it's a very new idea, but I'd really love, on top of my personal goals, to see myself create a community or some sort of real estate lifestyle coaching, something along the lines of that, I think would really put the cherry on top for me.
Mm.
I love that. That's really powerful. I mean, we can tell like you are an influential woman. You are juggling so many responsibilities and quite capably, it seems. So, I think my last question is around like as you think about the future of women in particular in real estate. And our podcast, just so you know, really does focus on women. All of our guests that we've interviewed for the most part have been women. And so that's obviously a passion of ours. But how do you envision like the future of women in real estate, and what contributions do you hope to make to our larger industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I was kind of stating before, if you are not in the industry, you have this fantasy, I'm going to be rich and I'm going to have the most flexible schedule ever, and I'm going to have to put minimal effort in. God, no, it's opposite of that. Okay. So, this will kind of segment into the women in the industry, but you have money and you have schedule flexibility. And I just want to make it so known that those things are 100% interconnected, right? I am a mom. I joined because I want schedule flexibility, but I want to make money. Well, as you go, you realize that the scales tip in terms of the more I work, the more money I make. The less I work, the less money I make, right? And so you have all this schedule. And I think for women themselves, whether you're a mother or not, that same stereotype goes toward agents. I think real estate started as a very male ran industry. Women eventually started finding their way into it and fighting to say, I can do this too. And now I feel that there are a lot of women agents out there, right? And so we play a big voice, we play a big role in how agents are perceived. And I think that this is not true for everyone, but I think if you kind of go with the stereotype of what I've seen, at least, when you work with men in real estate, they have a very transactional mindset. It is very much so, what would you like? How can I get you there? Move on with my day, right? Maybe that's because they were not put on this earth to have mother nurture instincts. I don't know. But as women, I think, it's very easy to fall into, I have to be transactional. I have to be transactional when you work with other men. And you find that, at least I feel that as a woman, it is a very relational career, right? It is a very, I want to nurture you, and how can I get you to your goals, and how can I, right? And I've noticed that when I start branching out, I used to see women as the competition. I used to see them as, I can't support. Like, no, I don't know. There's something between women where you're either so supportive of women or you're like kind of judgy and I don't like you because you're a woman, right? And when you're 16, we're all like, I don't like you because you're the other girl, But you start finding your community in women as you get older. And I really feel that for women themselves, motherhood or not, we are this like driving voice of this industry. And so you could go through how you can influence politics and how you can influence your local market. That's like a whole rabbit hole of stuff. But I think as a whole, as women, it's so important to know that you may think we're the competition, but some of the most supportive women I've ever met are in real estate. And I think with that, if we can recognize that and nurture that, we can really be this like loud voice that changes like how people see us and how relationships are seen within the industry with their agent. Yeah. And then as a mother, as a woman who is a mother, I actually think it's huge, right? Because I think, again, there is this stigma, there is this standard in someone's head. When you still ask someone, when you think of a real estate agent, what do you see in your mind? Who do you see in your mind? Man in a suit. That is usually what I hear. Man in a suit, slimy, just out for their own money, out for their own benefit. And I'm like, you could not be more incorrect. You could not be more incorrect. I'm a mother of 3. I have bills. I am not rolling in the dough. But you know what I am doing? I can stay home with my kids if they're sick. I can support them. I'm taking my daughter Saturday to paint pottery. You know what I mean? And then we're going to go to a showing after. So it's just great. But I think you really have this like unique opportunity to bring a new perspective, because not only are you like, yeah, I'd like to make some money and I want the flexibility for my children, but this thing you can put out there for other people. I understand why it's important to be close to your grandkids. I understand why you want to do multi-generational living in a duplex, because I miss my mom dearly. I wish she lived closer. And you have this whole set of experiences and views that people without kids, like, they don't have. And that voice is so strong.
So well said. Oh my goodness, Beth. It was such a pleasure to be here with you, and we can't wait to continue to connect with you. And for everybody listening on the podcast, what an amazing show this was. Please comment, but know that we will put all of your Instagram, Facebook, all your social media handles in the description, and we just cannot wait. Thank you.
I'm so excited. You're so welcome. Thank you for having me on. And then all my handles have been mainstreamed now, so it's all at Sold with Beth Allen. Anything you do, Sold with Beth Allen.
Love
So
it.
good.
That's awesome.
Thank you, ladies. You're amazing.
You too.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Momentum in Real Estate. We hope you found valuable insights and strategies to propel your real estate journey forward.
If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us continue to deliver content that resonates with you. Remember, success in real estate is about continuous learning, growth, and serving others. Keep that momentum going and watch your business thrive.
Until next time, keep pushing forward and bringing your real estate dreams to life.
This is Corey Wall
and Kristen James signing off from Momentum in Real Estate.